They told the waiter, "She's not with us. Just ignore her." I was sitting right there. Same table. Same family. But like I was invisible. We were on a family vacation in Hawaii, yet my parents booked everything for 4. And I was the forgotten fifth, but what they didn't know was, I had control over the card that paid for everything. Before I show you how I turned this trip upside down, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more revenge stories. That hit hard. You don't want to miss what's coming next. They didn't even want me to come. Mom said, "Olivia, this trip is more for your siblings. Harper's been stressed, and Logan's getting married soon. You wouldn't enjoy it anyway." But I paid for this vacation. The entire thing. Flights. Hotel. Excursions. I booked it using the corporate rewards from the luxury travel startup I secretly built over the last 4 years. They didn't know that. They thought Dad's name was on the account, but the business was mine. When I arrived at the airport, Mom literally flinched. "You actually came?" she said, trying to hide her disgust behind a fake smile. Harper rolled her eyes. "Well, there goes the vibe." And Logan didn't even greet me, but I smiled. I kept the peace. I played dumb. Because revenge tastes better in silence, and I was preparing a full-course meal. At the resort, they booked a private suite for themselves and shoved me into the smallest room next to the elevator. At dinner, I wasn't included in the wine toast. When they rented a boat the next morning, I was left out. Logan said, "The boat's full. You understand, right? I was the one who booked that yacht." I literally owned the platform they used. That night, I saw the bill from the hotel, maxed out on spa treatments, steakhouse dinners, designer boutiques. They were treating themselves like royalty, using the card I gave to Dad for emergencies. He thought it was a bonus from his job. It wasn't. It was mine. So, while they were in the cabana sipping $40 cocktails, I opened my laptop, logged into the back end of the payment system, and froze the card. Their dinner that night? Declined. Their pre-booked sunrise helicopter tour? Cancelled due to payment issues. Harper's luxury spa massage? The front desk said, "Sorry, cards not working." And that was just the beginning. Logan slammed his coffee mug on the table. "What the hell, Olivia? Dad's card isn't working. We're stranded in the middle of Maui like idiots." Harper hissed through gritted teeth, "Do you think this is funny? We have dinner reservations, a chopper tour, and my facial was prepaid. What did you do?" I didn't flinch. I simply stirred my tea and looked straight at them. "I froze my card," I said calmly. "Because this trip? Apparently, wasn't for me." Silence. A mom blinked fast like her brain couldn't process the words. "What? Do you mean your card? That's your father's corporate expense." "No," I cut her off. "That's my corporate card. I own Elysian Travel. The same company you think just gives random perks to Dad. He doesn't even work there anymore." Logan's mouth opened but no words came out. Harper's fork slipped from her hand and hit her plate with a sharp clang. "You're lying," Mom finally said, voice trembling. I pulled out my phone and tapped a few times. On the screen, a Forbes feature titled, "Meet Olivia Brooks, the woman quietly revolutionizing luxury travel." Their faces dropped like someone cut the power. I leaned in and whispered, "Still think this trip isn't about me?" But I wasn't done yet. I stood up, placed the hotel folio in front of them. It listed every single charge. "Enjoy paying it off." I removed the family discount. Then I added one final nail. "Oh, and the car you all came in? It's already returned. I suggest you find another ride." Their shock turned to panic as they realized I was no longer the extra luggage in their story. I was the pilot, and what happened when they begged me to fix everything? That's where things got really interesting. Logan followed me out of the dining area, his footsteps heavy behind me. "Olivia, wait, don't do this. You made your point, okay? But we're still family." I turned, slowly, keeping my voice steady. "Were we family when you told me not to embarrass you by showing up on this trip? When you laughed about me living in a studio apartment like it made me less?" He looked away. Guilty. Silent. Harper joined in, sunglasses still on, like this was beneath her. "Okay, you had your little revenge moment, but you're being dramatic now. We're stranded." "You're not stranded," I said, unlocking my phone. "You're just finally paying your own way." They didn't understand yet. The yacht ride they missed? That was my company's most premium package, $25,000 for a half-day charter. I'd given them that free the 5-star villa suite? Another gift they treated like an expectation, the exclusive spa booking Harper threw a tantrum about? People begged to get on that list. I'd built an empire. And I handed it to them on a silver platter, and all I got in return was being told, this trip isn't about you. They thought I'd always be the invisible one. The awkward little sister. The girl with no real direction. They didn't know that while they were busy throwing shade, I was building relationships with the exact people they were trying to impress. Dad finally came over, his voice low, tired. Olivia, please. Let's not make a scene. I raised my eyebrow. Like when you said I was just tagging along to eat free food? He winced. I continued, or when you told Aunt Denise I'd probably never get married because I worked too much. That I should just settle? He stayed quiet. I leaned in. You've all mocked me behind my back for years. But here's the truth, this trip was only possible because of me. And you couldn't even pretend to be grateful. That's when the hotel manager approached. Miss Brooks, we've moved your things to the presidential villa as requested. Your driver's waiting outside. Harper's eyes went wide. Presidential villa? I smiled. It's more private. And peaceful. Since apparently, I ruined the vibe. I walked out of that restaurant like a queen leaving a peasant feast, but the twist? I wasn't done yet. Later that evening, while they scrambled trying to figure out alternative bookings, unsuccessfully, I launched part 2 of my plan. Every luxury vendor they tried to reach cancelled, every reservation they attempted to rebook. System error. Why? Because Elysian Travel powered most of the high-end services on the island, and guess who controlled the back-end system? Me. They were locked out of their own vacation. I even received a text from Logan, oh, we're sorry. Seriously. Can we talk? I left it on read, then Mom emailed me, you've made your point. Just please fix the card, at least for dinner. Your father's embarrassed. I replied with 2 words, not my problem. But the best part, I had booked a private beach dinner for myself, same one Harper bragged about wanting. As I arrived, candles lit along the sand, a string quartet playing softly, the server greeted me, welcome back, Miss Brooks. We've been expecting you. And while I sipped champagne and watched the sun dip behind the ocean, guess who showed up at the edge of the beach, barefoot and desperate? My whole family. They stood there awkwardly, on the sand, their shoes in their hands, faces twisted with a mix of pride and panic. Mom was the first to speak. Her voice cracked like she hadn't rehearsed this part. Olivia, we were wrong. You've clearly done something amazing. We just didn't know. I didn't move. I didn't invite them to sit. I simply raised an eyebrow and said, you didn't want to know. Logan stepped forward, trying to smile. Come on, Liv. Let's just forget all that. We're family. Let's enjoy the rest of the trip together. You can show us your villa. He tried to make it sound casual. Like he wasn't drowning in desperation. Harper spoke next. We were jealous, okay? You never bragged. You never showed off. We assumed you weren't doing anything important. I gave a short laugh. You assumed I was struggling. And you liked it that way. Mom's eyes were glistening now. I'm sorry. We're all sorry. Just please, let's have dinner together. The hotel won't even let us back into the suite. Until the balance is cleared. That's when it hit me, they had nowhere to go, their bags were still locked in their rooms. Their credit cards were either declined or blocked from international use. I didn't just freeze one card. I had flagged every backup they might use, because I knew them that well. They were stuck, and for the first time in my life, they were looking at me. Not like the odd one out, not like the failure, but like the one with power. I took a slow sip of champagne, then placed the glass down. You all spent years reminding me I didn't belong. You talked about me like I was a burden. Do you even remember my birthday last year? I ate alone. Mom whispered, I know. And I hate that now. I nodded. Good. Because that version of me doesn't exist anymore. Then I pulled out my phone and made a call. Yeah, this is Olivia Brooks. Cancel the family suite extension. Release the hold. They'll have to rebook, at full price. I hung up before they could react. They stood there in silence, completely powerless, and then I did something they never expected. I motioned to the empty chairs across from me. Sit, I said. Not because I forgive you. But because I want you to watch how a woman you dismissed built an empire without your permission. They sat. Quiet. Humbled. I let them watch as the chefs brought out 5 gourmet courses, none of which were for them. As the staff called me Miss Brooks, with genuine respect. As the string quartet played a melody I requested months ago, when I first planned this exact revenge, they finally saw me, and not as their daughter, or their sister, but as the force they never saw coming. Next, when the vacation ended, and we flew home, something happened at the airport that left my mother in tears, and the whole terminal watching. You won't believe what she tried to do next. The airport was packed, families rushing to catch flights, kids screaming, tourists juggling souvenirs. But my family? They were quiet. Heads low. Avoiding eye contact with each other, and especially with me. The flight home was booked under my corporate account, first class. But I'd changed the manifest hours before. When they reached the check-in counter, the agent scanned their passports, then looked confused. I'm sorry, but you're not on this flight. What? Mom snapped. That can't be right. We're flying under Elysian Travel. Olivia booked it. The agent looked again. I see Olivia Brooks here, and a guest. But not the rest of you. Logan stepped forward. You're kidding me. We confirmed this days ago. That's when I stepped up beside them, suitcase in hand, boarding pass ready. Hi. I'm the guest, I said, motioning to the woman beside me, one of my lead software engineers, who joined me last minute for a conference in LA. She'll be taking the second seat. Everyone else, well, they'll need to find another way home. Mom's face turned red. Not from anger, shame. Pure, blistering shame. Olivia, she whispered, you wouldn't actually leave us here, would you? You left me out of this family years ago, I replied. This is just me respecting the boundaries you built. Harper begged. We don't have the budget for new flights. You know that. Please. I shrugged. Then maybe call one of those friends you always post about on Instagram. Or Logan's fiancée. Oh wait, didn't she dump you last week after finding out about your business loans? He turned pale. I turned to leave, but just before I passed through security, I heard it, Mom sobbing, not the quiet, guilty kind. The ugly, breaking down in public kind, and I turned around. Just once, she knelt down by her bag, hand over her mouth, eyes locked on me like she was looking at a stranger, because that's what I was to her now, not the desperate daughter begging for love, not the forgotten sibling sitting at the corner of every table, not the failure. I was power in heels. I was the woman who didn't just survive their rejection, I weaponized it, and in front of dozens of people watching, whispering, recording on their phones, I walked away. Calm, unbothered, and free. The moment I boarded, my engineer leaned over and asked, that was your family? I smiled. No. That was a lesson. Final twist, that vacation? I documented the whole thing, not for revenge, but for my keynote. At the upcoming Women in Tech conference, the title of my speech, they said I didn't belong, so I bought the table.